Reporting a drop in new coronavirus cases, China has now reopened businesses in Wuhan city as the lockdown ends. The central Hubei province has also resumed domestic travel. For the last 2 months, China has been changing its counting method. The world has been questioning China's intentions of hiding the number of infections. And now the country has reported cases that had been excluded from its national tally. And now joining us live from Bahrain is Arslan Hidayat, Uyghur rights activist. Thank you so much for being with us here on the broadcast on WION World is One. Arslan, talk to us. China first reported a set of numbers and has been constantly adding to it, calling it these are imported cases.
Well, yeah, China from day one have been lying. China lied, people died, and we understand that these cases, you've got more cases in the US, you have more people dying in Italy than China. China is hiding their cases. On a recent report done by Radio Free Asia, it suggested that the number of corpses that were coming out of the crematories are around 42,000. So China are definitely hiding the numbers. People are going back to work, as you mentioned. These are all lies. China continues to lie, which means people will continue to die.
Right. There has always been questions raised on China's transparency when it comes to not just this particular epidemic. These questions were raised in the SARS epidemic back in early 2000s as well. Talk to us about COVID-19 and more importantly, China is right now at the receiving end of criticism from the entire world. Had there been earlier reportage about this and the veracity of it, the number of containment measures would have been implemented early.
Exactly. Experts are saying 90 to 95% of cases and deaths could have been avoided if China was transparent about this. The World Health Organization has just as much role to play in these set of lies. Now we've seen China all of a sudden get life back to normal. People are going back to work. But now they are actually profiting from this. We should be holding China accountable, making them pay for this Chinese virus, but instead they're making millions of dollars from this. And eventually, we will see them take over the world once more.
Right. And the blame right now lies on the administration, the regime of China, the Chinese Communist Party, and of course, President Xi Jinping, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Xi Jinping hasn't just lied about the virus. They've also lied about what happens within China. Specifically, for example, if we look at the Uyghur situation in Eastern Tibetans, Hong Kong. Now we've seen China, as I've mentioned, go back to business. But what kind of business are they involved now? They are suddenly making their mass-producing face masks, ventilators and test kits to be sold all around the world for profit. Spain and the Czech Republic have reported that these medical supplies, 30% of them only 30% of them work. In the Netherlands, 600,000 face masks were distributed to all the hospitals. They've had to recall them. Businesses are going out of business, and China are waiting to acquire them. At the end of this pandemic, China will come out stronger than ever before, while the rest of the world suffers.
And as we speak, we see that the original virus epicenter, Wuhan city, the wet markets are open again, albeit with social distancing.
Well, I would say the term social distancing needs to be not just social distancing. The world should be practicing China distancing. We need to stop intertwining our economies with China. Each and every country needs to take responsibility and stop selling their assets and buying assets from China. Social distancing is not enough. China distancing is the way to go. I blame China for all the economies dropping. I blame China for people that have had to live on the streets now. They cannot feed their children. They cannot pay their rent. I blame China. China lied, people died. China lied, people died, and that's period.
Right. Arslan Hidayat, Uyghur rights activist, joining us live from Bahrain with that perspective. Thank you, Arslan, for being with us here on the broadcast on WION World is One.